Good morning. I was just looking at the moon and sitting out here on the ravine bench. And it's amazing how quickly it changes. There you go, you can see there's quite a big chunk missing from the lower right-hand side now. So it's waning. I'm having my smoothie and cereal this morning. Oops, there's a little gnat on my straw. Lovely fruit smoothie. I put all kinds of good stuff in here. Banana, oranges, sometimes mangoes, pineapple, some kind of fruit, usually strawberries, cherries, or blueberries, and lots of other things. Hemp hearts, amla powder, which is very high in antioxidants, dates that I've soaked overnight, and chia and flax. So, cheers. Oh, and then water from the Berkey filter. And increasingly, I've become aware how important it is to filter our water, or even use distilled water, which my dentist does. We were talking a lot yesterday, and he reminded me that we often hear about the biome in the gut and how important it is to maintain a healthy gut biome. And we also have a different biome in the mouth. And for the health of your teeth and gums, it's important to maintain a healthy mouth biome, which oftentimes involves cutting back on the starches and sugars. So, anyway, and then I was listening also to a podcast about Biosphere 2, which was a controlled experiment within a structure, and you can read about it, but it happened over a period of 2 years. 8 people were in there. They created different environments that you find here on Earth: desert, rainforest, different ecosystems. And this was theoretically a closed system, although I think there were a few air leaks or something of that nature, but basically it was a closed system. But the person that was being interviewed, who was one of the people in there, talked about how the earth the biosphere, the larger biosphere that we all live in here on the planet, is even more of a closed system than that was. Occasionally a meteor will come through and we get the solar wind and so forth and so on, but anyway, I thought that was a good point. I love this little Siniso. This is Leucophyllum zygophyllum. It only gets about waist high. You don't see this sold very often. Beautiful when it's blooming. I don't water it. The deer don't eat it. It's evergreen. Wonderful plant. Anyway, I was also thinking about the enclosures that I showed you yesterday in a previous video. I hear blue jays and scrub jays. Wrens, a tanager, summer tanager, and I heard the white-eyed vireo. There's a red bird on the olive tree down there. Anyway, back to the enclosures. Those enclosures are sort of a biome, a biosphere in miniature. Because I've closed out the deer, and consequently a lot of plants that wouldn't survive otherwise do. Here's the scrub jay over in the distance. And the deer are not really the problem. They're native. They belong here. They're part of the ecosystem. But overpopulation of deer is a symptom of a world out of balance. And actually, I haven't seen deer around here as much as I used to. And I think it could be partly because there are mountain lions in the area. I haven't seen one myself, but other people have. There go the neighbors in their roaring truck. But it seems like the deer have developed a different pattern lately in where they go and where they hang out. I'll just go down here to the olive trees a bit. And those are sable palms. Texas sable palms that have come up from seed that I threw out. I thought the seed were bad, but obviously they weren't, because now we have a whole forest of sable palms on the side of the hill here. But here are the olive trees. I recently there's one there. Recently took the cages away that were protecting them from the deer. And so far, so good. Anyway, the pattern of the deer traffic has changed a bit. They do still come, but around the garden I do have this fence that keeps them out. And like a mad scientist, I continually try new plants. One of which has escaped. The monster has escaped. This is it. This is the lavender butterfly vine. A little bit wilted, but amazingly still growing in the drought. It's making its way all the way down the hill, and it climbs up these trees. Beautiful when it blooms. And I don't know if it's valid to call it an exotic or not, because it's native to the Chihuahuan Desert, and the Chihuahuan Desert borders on the western edge of the hill country, which is where we are here. Anyway, it's very well adapted. It does freeze back a bit in the winter if we have a severe winter, but returns full force. And generally it doesn't die all the way to the ground. Anyway, it is kind of a monstrous thing because it strangles whatever it manages to climb upon. But I have managed to cut it out of the olive trees. So I can see that's going to be a continuing battle, though, to keep it out of them. But my enclosures are a miniature biosphere in themselves. Each of them, depending on where they are a bit different. The garden as a whole is a miniature biosphere. We are miniature biospheres. Our bodies. And you can step down to the gut biome, the mouth biome, the head biome, whatever. And here in Wimberley, our town, yesterday was a sad day because the development interests that have taken over the city council. And we've had generally a pretty good city council up to now, but the development interests took over And I won't go into how. There was a lot of dishonesty and misleading information. But anyway, they accomplished their goal. And to the detriment of us all. But it was a sad day because the river, the creek that flows into the river, the creek that flows through town, will continue to be polluted from faulty septic systems because the development interests and their people in political power have sided with corporate interests to control how the waste is dealt with and how our water resources are dealt with. I spent the day in Austin yesterday, and I just see more of that coming in this direction. More urban sprawl, traffic, that sort of thing. I suppose we're a little bit protected here because of the steep hills. The houses up there, their lots go all the way down to the ravine, so chances are there won't be more houses within this view. But anyway, in the face of this overwhelming destruction and plans for more destruction, more pavement, more depletion of the aquifer, more pollution of the waterways. It sort of reminds me of what I've been throughout my life, and which set me on the course that I'm on, in trying to protect the environment, to encourage the protection of the environment. And some people say environment is kind of a bad term to use. I guess because it sort of sets us apart from the environment, as if we're not part of it, because we are. It's an integral whole. But I'm reminded of what has always helped me to heal and to go on. And that's always been my connection with the earth. Some people say Mother Earth. You could also say Father Earth. I don't know. The earth is nurturing. We see that as a motherly quality, but I don't really see it as belonging to a gender. So I don't give the earth a gender. That's a human concept. Oh, here's a little wren. Carolina wren here. Where did you go? Oh, there he is. It's trying to find food among all the rotten wood and leaves. You know what it's doing? It's actually rolling. It's rolling around. It's taking a sort of a dust bath in the rotten wood from this dead tree trunk. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, I'm also reminded of the Buddha when he attained enlightenment. He wasn't in a temple or a meditation hall. He was under a tree. And I'm by no means claiming to be enlightened, but what has always nurtured me and what has always brought me back into balance when I've felt like I was losing it is my connection to the earth. I guess it's done with its little sawdust bath, or rotten wood bath. Anyway, so connection to the earth. Or rock, as the case may be. Have a beautiful day. Que le vaya bien.